Before the story pulls you any deeper into that moment, pause for a second. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet courage of ordinary people standing up against powerful darkness, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still searching. Evelyn Cross had built an empire from polished steel and ruthless intelligence, rising from nothing to become one of the most powerful women in the city. Her name lit up skyscrapers, charity galas, and magazine covers, always paired with words like visionary, billionaire, and unstoppable. She wore elegance like armor, moving through rooms with the certainty of someone who believed control was permanent. At her side stood her husband, Marcus Cross, a man whose charm was as smooth as the silk of his tailored suits, whose smile had convinced investors, politicians, and Evelyn herself that he was the perfect partner in both love and ambition. Together they appeared untouchable, a flawless symbol of success. On the night everything changed, the gala was meant to celebrate a record-breaking merger that would cement Evelyn's legacy. The ballroom glowed with golden light, crystal chandeliers reflecting wealth in every direction. Waiters glided across marble floors carrying delicate glasses filled with a rare herbal infusion Marcus had personally arranged as a signature toast for the evening. It was presented as a symbol of clarity and renewal, something exclusive and refined, much like the couple themselves. Evelyn accepted the cup without hesitation, her thoughts already drifting to speeches and headlines, unaware that her life balanced on a single sip. Across the room stood Daniel Reed, a single father whose presence felt out of place among diamonds and designer gowns. His suit was clean but worn, his shoes polished but old, and his eyes carried the permanent weight of responsibility. He wasn't there for glamour or connections. He worked as part of the private catering staff, a second job taken on top of night shifts at a warehouse, all to keep a roof over his daughter's head and food on the table. His little girl, Lily, was 7 years old and waiting at home with a neighbor, clutching the stuffed bear he'd given her when her mother passed away 3 years earlier. Every extra hour Daniel worked was a promise to Lily that life would not always be so hard. Daniel had learned to observe quietly. Life had taught him that survival often depended on noticing what others ignored. Earlier that evening, while helping in the service corridor, he noticed something that tightened his chest with unease. He saw Marcus Cross speaking to a man who didn't belong to the event, a man whose eyes darted nervously and whose hands trembled as he passed a small vial. Daniel watched as Marcus slipped it into his pocket, his expression calm, practiced, almost bored. Later, Daniel saw Marcus near the drink station, his back turned, his movements quick and deliberate. Years ago, Daniel's mother had worked as a nurse, and he remembered her warnings about certain herbs, about how easily something could look harmless while destroying a body from the inside. As the glasses were distributed, Daniel felt panic rise like a wave. He knew the risks of speaking out in a place like this. He was nobody, just another worker who could be fired, blacklisted, or worse. But then he thought of Lily, of the world she would grow up in if people stayed silent out of fear. He imagined Evelyn Cross drinking from that cup, unaware, trusting the men who shared her bed. In that moment, fear gave way to something stronger. When Evelyn raised the cup, Daniel ran forward, his voice ripping from his chest in a scream that silenced the room. The words themselves didn't need refinement, they were pure instinct, a father's terror transformed into action. The cup slipped from Evelyn's fingers, shattering on the marble floor, the liquid spreading like a dark stain among shards of crystal. Gasps filled the air. Security rushed in. Marcus's face drained of color so fast it was almost imperceptible, but Evelyn saw it. For the first time in years, she truly looked at her husband, and something cold settled in her stomach. Chaos followed. The gala was halted, guests ushered out, police summoned. Daniel was restrained at first, accused of causing a scene, but when investigators tested the remains of the drink, the truth surfaced with terrifying clarity. The infusion contained a compound that, in small doses over time, could mimic stress-related illness before leading to sudden organ failure. It was subtle, clever, and nearly undetectable. The plan hadn't been to kill Evelyn that night, but to begin the final stage of something long prepared. As evidence unfolded, Evelyn's world cracked open. Financial records revealed Marcus had been siphoning money into offshore accounts for years. Legal documents showed a revised will, quietly altered, transferring control of her empire to him in the event of her incapacitation or death. Text messages, burner phones, and surveillance footage painted a picture of betrayal so vast it made her dizzy. The men she trusted with everything had seen her not as a partner, but as an obstacle. Daniel, meanwhile, sat alone in a small interrogation room, hands shaking, wondering if he'd just destroyed his chances of ever providing stability for his daughter. He answered every question honestly, his thoughts drifting back to Lily, hoping she would never know how close her father had come to losing everything. Hours later, an officer told him he was free to go. No charges would be filed. Instead, he was thanked. Evelyn asked to see him the next day. When Daniel entered the private hospital suite where she was recovering from shock, he expected anger or cold detachment. Instead, he found a woman stripped of illusion. Her eyes were tired, her posture less rigid, her voice softer than he imagined. She told him that his courage had saved her life, not just physically but spiritually. For the first time, someone had acted not for profit or status, but simply because it was right. In the weeks that followed, the story exploded across media outlets. Marcus Cross was arrested and charged with attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy. The marriage that once symbolized perfection ended in public disgrace. Evelyn withdrew from the spotlight, canceling appearances and stepping back from day-to-day operations. She spent long nights replaying the past, recognizing moments she had ignored, red flags buried under ambition. Wealth had insulated her from many things, but it had also blinded her. Daniel returned to his routines, but nothing felt the same. He expected life to snap back to hardship, yet unexpected changes followed. Evelyn established a foundation focused on supporting single parents, funding childcare, education, and healthcare for families on the edge of collapse. Daniel was invited to work with the foundation, not as a symbol, but as a voice. His experience mattered. His perspective shaped programs that addressed real struggles, not theoretical ones.